Good day, folks. My name is Todd, and on behalf of Bellcom Training, I'd like to thank you for joining me today for video 6 in our transparent communication series. If you haven't seen the previous 5 videos, highly recommend that you go out, start with video 1. It'll put things in context because I know there's a lot of you that probably just bumped into this video, and that's okay. I'll leave the link in the description down below. Now, we're on video 6. This is where we're going to talk about verbal communication and what role it plays in the transparent communication process. But before we even get to that, let's take a look at the Mehrabian study. If you've been in any of my classes, especially classes that involve communication between people, which I love, you got to talk about the Mehrabian study. I've also made a video on that, but we're going to talk about it briefly here. And if you look online, I have Google Mehrabian study. I looked it up, and of course, it's all knowing. Google tells you everything you need to know. It says the Mehrabian study refers to research by Albert Mehrabian on the impact of verbal and nonverbal communications, specifically in the context of conveying emotions. Now, let's think about wherever you talk to people, whether it's at home, at the grocery store, at work, which is primarily where we focus. You're going to have people where egos get involved, where emotions primarily start to get involved when things aren't going smoothly, okay? And that happens quite often. You have to consider the impact that the study that Mehrabian made has on those communications between people, and that's true for transparent communication. So we got to talk about it. The Mehrabian study specifically states that it's also known as the 738-55 rule. About 7% of the communication stream is going to be focusing on the actual words you're using, which is not a lot. It's surprisingly small. 38% is going to be on the voice and tone, the vocal tone. Now, that is pretty high. And then the final 58% has to deal with the body language, okay? We'll get to the body language and the words later. We're going to focus on that 38% in the Mehrabian study. So let me go ahead and bring this up. There we go. Now, this is what we're talking about. Verbal communication as it applies in the transparent communication process that we're talking about today. We have to discuss this because 38%, especially when you start getting emotion involved, is going to be based on your verbal communication. These things mean a lot. So what is verbal communication? As you can see, simply using words to express yourself. Yes. Well, how important is this? That you get it right. It's extremely important. And how do you do this? Well, first bullet point says a lot. Speak with confidence. Speak with confidence, because if you don't look confident when you're talking to another person or the team, your boss, your reports, whoever it is, if you don't seem confident in the message that you're delivering, the people you're talking to are going to start to wonder, is this person hiding something from me? Simply based on that alone, they can go in that direction, and that's not in the spirit of what we're talking about, transparent communication, meaning we're not hiding anything. We're putting it all out there. If you're not speaking confidently, people naturally go in that direction. Oh, this individual's hiding something from me. So yeah, you want to speak confidently, right? Use a natural tone. Don't get excited. Don't get wound up, because when you start doing that, if you're getting that emotional involvement, you're getting excited, especially if there's friction involved, people's tone typically starts to amp up. It starts to get a higher pitch, and that's hard for people to listen to. It just quite frankly is. So natural tone. Speak clearly and succinctly. That goes without saying. I think everybody understands that one. What about make sure your body language isn't saying the opposite of your words? That is huge. Now, that's kind of parlaying into the nonverbal part of communication, the body language. But it is important. What you're saying has to match what your body is saying. It just does. Because, again, if For example, you're telling something in a serious tone, but you have an evil smirk on your face, that person's going to go, okay, what is going on here? They're going to start thinking that, again, you're hiding something from them, and that's just simply not a direction you want to go. Again, transparent. It's all out in the open. It's truthful. My body language is saying something totally different than what the words that are coming out of my mouth. People immediately start to distrust what you're thinking. And there's also another good saying. And I've said this before, probably in this video series. I can't remember. We'd have to go back to it. But I used to tell my kids this all the time, and it's very important. I've also told many people in many of my classes, it's not necessarily what you are saying, it's how you are saying it, based on your tone. And that, I can't stress enough. Mean what you're saying. Have the confidence in it. Say it clearly. Don't hide anything. Because that's, as the minute people detect any dishonesty there, it's no longer transparent communication. They are assuming that you are not telling the full story. You're not telling the truth. And then finally, it's amazing, I'm talking about verbal communication. I am verbally communicating with you right now. But if you were right in front of me, would you be communicating with me? Yes. Even though maybe you're not saying as much. Yes. But when you do, communication is a two-way street. When you do respond, and then you start adding to the conversation, I have to be a good active listener. There are lots of information out there on active listening skills. Highly recommend that you polish those skills. I'll give you a few simple tips here. First and foremost, put this down. Put the phone down. Yeah, when somebody's talking to you, make good eye contact with them. Lean in a little bit. Maybe turn an ear towards them. Those visual cues mean a lot too. Give those, oh, yeah. Those type of responses relay that, okay, I am actively engaging in what you're saying. Maybe ask questions, rephrase, so that paraphrase what they said. Oh, so what you're saying is blah, blah, blah. We're engaging in a good communication stream. I am hoping they're practicing good active listening skills, because that's going to encourage me, again, to continue to be open and transparent. And I'm going to focus on my active listening skills when they are talking. Again, let me rehash this last point. Communication is a two-way street. When I'm communicating, I'm hoping they're using active listening skills. They're focused in on what I'm saying. And then I have to reciprocate it. That's part of that two-way street. You have to do it. All right, folks, that's the end of video 6. Hopefully you guys will be back for video 7, which will be coming up next week. And also, by the way, just another quick reminder, if you haven't gone and saw the very beginning of this and the first 5 videos, please do so. The link will be in the description below. Also, visit bellcomtraining.com. We'll talk to you later. Bye.